Me in the chat, we taking on the fight. Windows computer issues, we gonna make it right. Got that brilliant tech advice, 6 days a week. Yeah, we gonna help solve it all. No need to ignite.
Good morning, it's June 6th, 2024 on a Thursday morning. Good to see you all. Did you hear about the kidnapping at school? It's okay, the kid woke up. Thank you, Brian. Nice way to start. And I'm going to jump right into channel comments. Commendatore. Okay, he says here has a difficult name to pronounce, so I'm gonna try it this way. You tell me. Option number 1, commendatore. Whoops. Yeah, speaker bot I just turned on. So number 1, commendatore, or commendator, or commendator. Which one of those? Commendatore is correct.
John Williams said good.
Very good. Thank you, John. He says, hello, dear sir. Let's zoom this in a little bit. Hello, dear sir. You helped me a while ago. How long ago was that? Well, I can come over here to my email. When I search for his name, I find that it was August 22nd, 2023. He was responding to the HP all-in-one that won't start up. And he says, I have that difficult name, Commendatore. Haha. I asked you then about HP 27 all-in-one PC. I didn't buy it though. Instead, I bought a brand new 2024 March HP 16 laptop. Now my question is, the memory is 512K standard. I'm deactivating the repeating speaker bots right now. The memory is 512 standard. Now, I think it probably means storage drive is 512 gigabytes. But when I opened the laptop for the first time, the info says I only have 475 gigabytes capacity and used 51 gigabytes and left with 424 gigabytes of space. That sounds like to me, Commendatore, that you are looking at the properties of the C drive. I'm showing that on Baby Beast here. And you're looking here at the C drive, seeing your total space available and your free space. And that's the wrong place to check for that information. Show you the right place in a moment. The other strange thing is let's go ahead and deal with that because he moves on to a different topic then. So what you want to do is right click on the Windows button and then go to Disk Management, and over here you'll see the total size of your drive, and that C partition is just one partition out of a few partitions that you would have on that drive. So you're never going to see the full capacity on the C drive. Now you said you got 475 gigabytes capacity. It was a 512 gigabyte drive. Let's see, I think I did, yeah, here I have the 475. Now, when you multiply that by 1024, because there's 1024 gigabytes in a megabyte. See, I got these column titles up here, gigabytes, megabytes, kilobytes, and bytes. So when you look at 475 gigabytes, multiply that by cell B5, multiply by 1024, because there's 1024 bytes in a kilobyte, there's 1024 megabytes in a gigabyte. So this is showing you how much there is, how many megabytes there are for 475 gigabyte, and then you multiply that number by 1024 to see how many kilobytes there are, multiply that number by 1024 to see how many bytes there actually are. So that's kind of a little primer on the math of that stuff. Then he says the other strange thing is that I bought this laptop 3 days ago on June 1st and I received it today on June 5th. I registered the laptop on the HP site and it says that the guarantee is 11 months, not the typical 1 year.
Brian Lightfoot said how many nibbles?
HP says that the warranty was started on April 4th. So what's going on here? Is it a used laptop? No. By someone or some scam? No, not really. He gives us the answer here. I bought it new in a new box, but not from HP. So he doesn't tell us who he bought it from. If he bought it from a seller on Amazon, for instance, the warranty would start from the time that it was purchased from Dell. Now, it's quite possible if you bought from a seller on Amazon that they might buy them in bulk, get a substantial discount, and then sell it to you for perhaps even less than what Dell's website shows. So they make a little bit of profit. But when they bought it from Dell, that's the start of the 12-month warranty. Now, it's actually, there's another thing a little curious there. He says the warranty was started on April 4th. That sounds like it should be 10 months remaining rather than 11 months, but maybe they're rounding up when he looked at that 11 months. So I think that's what's going on there, Commendatore. That's the way I'm going to pronounce it because it's more fun that way, Commendatore, until you tell me otherwise. I will reply to him with a timestamp for this point in the video. And let's see, oh, somebody did Victor here, so I'll go catch the tail end of Victor and see if I got that timing right. Boom, there you go. Jim, in responding to a subject that I showed yesterday, given that the virtual memory was 27 gigabytes, a new system with 32 gigabytes doesn't seem to be out of the question. No, the 27 gigabytes we saw was the amount that Explorer had used of the swap file. It didn't mean that it was currently using that much, and it was the Windows window manager, whatever that was called, Explorer. And Explorer handles File Explorer, and it handles all the windows on your desktop. So having the computer open for a long time, having lots of windows open, this client, I think it's very likely, since he opens a new File Explorer instance, every time he goes to open a new client file, I suspect that he may have had dozens and dozens and dozens, or scores, even 100 of them open, because he's one that never closes things. He probably had dozens and dozens of Microsoft Word tabs open. Now the pictures, the video that I showed you didn't show all that because his computer had already crashed. The computer didn't completely crash as in reboot. We know that because it was what, 20 some odd, 30 some odd days since it had last restarted. But rather what happened is Microsoft Word crashed, and I think File Explorer probably crashed. We know that Microsoft Word crashed because he told us he was having trouble with recovering files. When I first connected to it, there were 4 recovered file panels open. I saved those and then closed Word. When I closed Word, it asked if I wanted to recover the other unrecovered documents. So when I closed it and reopened it, it went to recovering more documents. All he does is Microsoft Word and web browsing. His email is on a web browser. He doesn't do anything that is ever going to need that amount of current active working memory. And of course, Jim didn't know all that at the time, but so that's my explanation on that. Then Steve Mercure, may I please be approved for your chat room during live Windows training streams? I did that approval yesterday, and I've got that on here just so that I can show us he's already an approved user. I did that yesterday. He was on the Held for Review tab. I'm going to go click on the Held for Review tab and see if there's anything there. There is not. So then I'll come back to Published. Jim, I'll give a thumbs up and a heart now. And both Steve and Commendatore, I will give them a timestamp. Now when I refresh this page, Jim comment goes away. That's what the thumbs up and the heart does for me. Now I had one comment recently that I did not want to show because it was a troll, but I wanted to keep the comment for historical purposes. I didn't want to do a thumbs up and or a heart for him. So what I found out I can do is I can reply with just a period. And that gets it off of my list without removing the comment. Now let's see where I want to go to next. That was that. I'll go to my emails that let's see, here's one that I made to myself. Something from Jeff Ryman and Alice. Turn it off and turn it back on again. Oh yeah, I want to point, we were talking about restarting a computer that hasn't been restarted in a long time. That's the one that I showed you yesterday. The computer just needed to be restarted. And I just want to make the point, turning it off, meaning going to the Windows button and choosing shut down, may not be the right choice. In fact, I had an occasion yesterday after the show with another client where I told him to restart the computer. He called me with a problem. I connected remotely to his computer. I said, have you restarted? He said, yes. I went to Task Manager, the CPU section, and found it hasn't been restarted in 27 days. And I said, well, did you actually do restart or did you do shut down? And he said he did shut down. Well, normally I have computers configured to not have fast startup enabled, but if fast startup is enabled, then shut down and turning the computer back on does not accomplish restarting the computer, because fast shutdown does not completely shut down the computer. So I wanted to point out for Alice, not if fast startup is enabled. And I think she knows that because I think we've discussed that before. Now this one from Jeff from National Geographic Education. I forgot what that's about, so I'll go over here. Oh yes, September 9th, 1947, the world's first computer bug. They documented the first bug that was found in a computer, and that is where that came from. And I have seen that and heard that many, many times. Thank you, Jeff, for that. Then let's see, what else do I have? Oh yes, yesterday I did this email to myself. You saw me yesterday trying to find the swap file in disk activity, and I couldn't find it. Well, I realized shortly after the show why I couldn't find it. I have it here somewhere, over here on Baby Beast. I'll show it. You see, it's no longer called swap file. They, in some Windows updates, I don't know, I think this is what they did. So we'll say somewhere along the line, somebody decided instead of a 2-4 letter word name, let's improve it, and let's make it a 2-4 letter word instead. So instead of swap file, it's called page file. I was trying to find it alphabetically in the disk activity under swap file, and I couldn't find it. But page file, you see right here, there's nothing in page file. Well, Baby Beast has been sitting idle for a while. Let's see, did page that? Yeah, that's $ and PR. So page file would be before that. Now, if I go open something, there you see page file, and you see what applications are utilizing the page file. It jumps around so quick. So you can actually see the read and write activity and what programs or what Windows services are utilizing page file, and you can see where they're reading or writing. I find that kind of stuff interesting. Call me weird. No, don't do that. Just call me for dinner.
Ron Israel said swapping was a 16-bit Windows process using 64K chunks. Paging is a 32-bit Windows process using 4K memory pages, hence the rename.
There we go. Good. Very, very good historical background. Thank you, Ran Israel. I'm not at all surprised that somebody in this community found the explanation for that. Swapping was a 16-bit. So still somewhere in there we have, I don't know, was the word swap file in there anywhere? It was virtual memory for configuring how much virtual memory. I don't know if it ever called it swapping. Maybe that was just stuck in my head. Paging is a 32-bit Windows process. Yeah, and let's see, I think I also have over, let's see, somewhere lined up to show. Well, let's go this way. On the C drive.
Jim KJ3N said, won't call you weird, but you're not a normal.
All right. Let's see, I have display of system files and hidden files on Baby Beast turned on. So here's the actual page file. You can actually see it here, and you can do the math for what it's configured, and using the 1024 calculations I showed, you can get it to match the configuration. Let's see, so click on the Windows key, and then advanced system settings. In order to configure how much virtual memory that you have, on the advanced tab, go to performance and then settings, and then go to the advanced tab. And here's the 36864 megabytes. So if you do the math, that'll come out to this number here when you convert kilobytes to megabytes. And if you want to change that, I have automatically managed paging size, and this is showing what's recommended, what's currently allocated. You can change. I have on occasions turned it off. So click that and then go to no paging file, then restart the computer. At that point, you can actually delete the page file. I don't think it automatically deletes, but at that point you can delete the page file, and that way if you have a spinning hard drive, you can do a defrag and get the disk rearranged a little bit better, sometimes a lot better, depending upon how that has happened over time. It's been a long time since I've needed that. Of course, with SSDs, you're never going to need to do that. Okay, where do I want to go next? I had a big beast build crash yesterday before the show. And so I started doing a little bit of setup towards that thing that's been on my Saturday list for a while, for coming up with a standardized routine to interrogate a new computer that we're working with. So in the description of today's video, a new thing is this shared files link. Anybody can click on that. It goes to a folder that is shared to anyone that has
Zvi Manor
the
said
link.
my Windows 10 have the two files, page file, sys, swap file, .sys.
Oh, that's interesting. Zvi has both of them. Why would that be? Swap file sys and page file sys. Is swap file actually a different purpose these days? Might be. I was speaking without doing
Read chat, please.
recent research. Let's see, you're saying read chat, please. Is that for what I just Selden Ball? Traditionally, swap files are used to move entire...
Read chat, please.
And ran Israel. Traditionally, swap files are used to move entire programs to disk. Page files are used to move parts of programs to disk. Typically, a program is paged out before swapping out what is left. Okay, that's another way of managing memory, apparently, that I'm not really up to speed on. Today's swap file sys is used for modern user interface Windows Store apps. Oh, okay. Zvi, do you have some Windows Store apps? Now, sometimes you might have apps on your computer that you're not conscious of them being from the Windows Store, yet they are. Ran to Zvi, everybody does. Everybody has page file and swap file. Did I have it? Oh, I do. I do, yes indeed. You know what? And now that you point that out, this is seeming familiar. I think I'm probably going to go down that rabbit hole and gain a little better understanding of the difference between those. Let's see, did I catch everything? Yeah, Rand's comment and Selden's comment. Yeah, good. See you later, Jim. Yeah, the crash yesterday. So in this folder you can get to now, my intention is to have different folders within this LWTDB shared files. That, for instance, one of these folders might be named for a particular person if we're working remotely with a particular person's computer. And for instance, we can put the MS Info file in there. What's in here currently, going to the crash files, this would be where I will accumulate crash files for Big Beast Build, but this was specifically an OBS crash. So in here, there are these crash reports. Now, that crash that I had did not produce a crash report file, right? Because none of these are, oh, wait a minute, yeah, this one is. Oh, that one did. Yeah, that one did produce that. As a matter of fact, I have it open over here. Yeah, here I have that open. It is 75 pages long. Yeehaw. That's just, I pasted it into Microsoft Word to get an idea about it. I'm not really asking for anyone to do research on that, but if somebody is curious about checking them out, you get the actual original crash files here. So these are all OBS crashes. They come from, let's see, this, yeah, they come from this folder, the user profile folder, app data, roaming, OBS Studio crashes. This is where OBS puts its crash reports. These are all OBS crashes that have occurred on those particular dates that were shown. All right. Is there anything else there? And I got a text message from a client just a few minutes before the show, and with a photo. Let's show you that photo. Hard disk error. Please run the hard disk test, system diagnostics, yada, yada, yada. I replied to them with a text message saying, turn the computer off, leave it off for a couple minutes. Then turn it back on. If we're lucky, it'll be usable through the rest of the day. And then after hours, I would go check on it. Then what else do I have lined up? Yesterday, I had a call or a text message from a client. I don't think I told you about this one. With a printer problem. Oh, okay, I got a text message back about that hard disk error message. She says, okay, computer is up and running, thank you. So that is typically the case when you get a message like that. You can turn the computer off and turn it on again and it will function, but it's probably a hard drive going bad. Then, let's see, I'm looking to talk through this text messaging exchange with my client. I'm just kind of feeling like I did tell you about this one yesterday, but on the other hand, I don't think I did. Oh yeah, she called me by phone. So she had a message, an on-screen message that said, Tray 2 is overfilled. It was a screen message on the printer. It said Tray 2 is overfilled. What am I doing here? I have that photo. I can show it to you. Yeah, Tray 2 is overfilled. So I asked her to look at the front of the printer. There's some numbers that they're hard to see because they're probably just embossed and they're not a different color. And they label which tray is which. And she couldn't see it, and so I said I asked her to take a picture. She said she saw the number for tray number 1, but she can't figure out where it is. I said, okay, well, can you send me a picture of that? And this was the first picture she sent me. That one of the error message on the screen was the last picture. Here's the first picture. That was, my guidance was look for the tray numbers. Should be on the front of the printer. Here's the picture that she sent me. And I'm looking at this trying to understand how this is identifying the tray numbers. And in hindsight, it was like, duh, obviously I know what that is, but I had my mind set on her giving me a picture of the front of the printer to show the tray numbers. So then I asked her, can you give me a picture of the full front of the printer? And so here's what she gives me. And then I realized, oh, what she did is she gave me a picture of the paper tray here after she had removed all the paper from it. And it's just showing how to change the rails inside the paper tray for what paper is going to fit in there. So I zoom in on this and I realize, here's the number 1 and here's the number 2. So I point that out to her. So this pull-out tray where she normally puts her paper is tray number 2. This number 1 right here is referring to the envelope feeder right here. So the message that she was getting that says tray 2 is overfilled, well, it's not overfilled right now. So I said, well, can you put the paper in the tray and then give me a picture of that? And what I'm pointing out here is when you're talking with normals, you got to shift your thinking a little bit. At this point in time when we got that message on the screen, and there's no paper on there. I'm saying, well, I'm thinking when you put the paper in, you push it down to where it kind of latches in place. And maybe she is putting in too much paper. So I figured, okay, I want to see with this tray with paper in it. So she starts to do that and she says, oh, wait, I see. And back underneath here, I'm deducing what she's telling me is back underneath here, she found a paper jam. She found a crumpled piece of paper. And that's what was confusing the poor printer to thinking the tray was overfilled. So she pulled that out. And the moral of the story here, for technicians and for normals, is when you have a problem, look. Use your eyeballs. Look all around. Don't have such a narrow focus that you just look at this error message and just say, I don't know what that means. Look around, no matter what it says. Okay, so I don't have any shows. I looked, and there are no shows for me to redirect to. I've got a few more minutes. Is there something else lined up here to show? Let's see that. I mentioned yesterday about the QuickBooks deal on that website that I showed yesterday, and I don't think I showed this screenshot. $249.95 lifetime subscription, they called it. This is from a third-party seller, license key verified by Intuit, which it just felt a little bit sketchy for me. My computer's wanting to do a backup right now. I got to change the time of that backup. Yeah, so if somebody's really wanting a one-time purchase, QuickBooks, this should be good for, well, good for 3 years, but that's the only time that matters is for payroll. You can still use a 2016 QuickBooks. It'll work just fine. It's just not going to work for payroll because payroll requires that you have a product that is less than 3 years old. And on yesterday's show, I showed the website that was at. Let's see, and here's some chat stuff I found from a QuickBooks team member. You're correct, the subscription is good till May 31, 2027. That was for the 3-year subscription. QuickBooks Desktop discontinuation policy. The payroll subscription is a separate subscription with Desktop with the same 3-year life cycle as QuickBooks Desktop, allowing all online services to run smoothly. Yeah, if you're doing online stuff with, and you have an older version of QuickBooks, you're trying to reconcile your checkbook online or do payments online, that might not work when you're out of their support cycle. You can still use a merchant account outside of QuickBooks Desktop even after Desktop is continued. All right, was there anything else there? When we installed the newer version of QuickBooks that she bought on a subscription basis from QuickBooks directly. And when I went to update all of her company files to the new version, the first one gave me this. We're sorry, QuickBooks can't open your company file. A couple ways to fix, file doctor and so on. Well, under the same idea of restart the computer, what I did here is I just tried opening that file again and it worked fine. The rest of her 7 company files had no problem whatsoever. All right, I think that sounds like a good time to, well, I'll go look at chat. Every time I zoom in like that to a panel to show you photos, I have to unzoom before I can get back to the normal web browser. Tray 2 usually on the bottom. Yeah, I couldn't have said that. User manual would have identified. Yeah, but like it should be identified on the printer itself. QuickBooks does not include payroll anyways. Yeah, it's an extra subscription. It doesn't come with the basic desktop program. Now, what she wound up subscribing to was an annual subscription for the program and payroll. And it's a consistent amount through for each of the 3 years. And she wound up saving money. Her prior QuickBooks, the 2021 version, she bought it as a single purchase, and then she bought the subscription for the payroll add-on. Well, that payroll subscription, just for the payroll, she was paying $800 some odd for it. Well, now she has the program and the payroll subscription, not for $800 per year, but for $600 some odd per year. I think the reason why she saved money on that, because I suspect when it was the $800, is that was based upon having more employees a few years ago. Now they only have one employee, which is actually the one that is my client. Alice is on Ken's payroll. All right, I will read through the chat messages that my attention wasn't directed to, and I'll go ahead and say goodbyes to you all. I don't remember, did you do any of the randoms? You want to get a random in before we say goodbye? Maybe I just didn't notice, or maybe my camera 1 wasn't on at the time. Zavi Manor in his language, the exclamation mark R did not work. Here we go. Princess makes a showing. Hello, Frosty Winnipeg. We are just closing down now, and I'm just giving a chance for Princess to lay down. Oh, I'm going to do a little experiment. On Ken Stout's show last night. Oh, no, I'm going to take a minute. We're going to go a little bit overtime here, because this was curious to me, and I'd like for us as a community to test this. Let's go. I'm going to go to Ken Stout's show from last night and show the ending of his show. So the clouds going. So here's his show from last night. I'm going to bring that up. I'm going to go to the end, because at the end, it sounds like he's going to say something else, and it gets cut off. And he and I have both been doing, whoops, what did I do? He and I have both been doing some experiments, or have tried different things. Oh, good grief. Good golly, Miss Molly. Yeah, that was on Ken's show last night too. Wednesday night, go to the end, where it's different. If you end the show in OBS, it doesn't end quite as quickly or abruptly as if you end the show by going to the YouTube studio and clicking end stream over here. If you click this, it ends very abruptly. Well, I think more specifically, if you end the show in YouTube Studio, which I think is what Ken did last night, it cuts off. It cuts off actually before you thought the show ended. Whereas if you end the show in OBS, the audience will see and hear the last thing that you say. So today I'm going, well, I got to demonstrate what happened on Ken's show last night. So I'm going to unmute his video and play the last, 15 some number of seconds here. And I have desktop audio, so you should be able to hear. Okay, so I'm going to I'm going to top stocking now.
I want to thank Rich, Sam, Greg, Jeff, Sin, Ghetto, Darren, and Chris Garrett, and hopefully Alex is watching and will show up after the stream, because I'm kind of curious as to what I want to know what your router information is all about. I'm pushing the Doug button now, and by the way,
Okay, I'm pushing the Doug button now, and by the way, I think whatever he said at the end of that, he intended to go out on the show, but it didn't. So that makes me think that he finished his sentence and then clicked in stream in YouTube Studio, which I think wipes out the latency. the 5 seconds or whatever of latency. I think it's gone. So here's what I'm going to do. Today, I'm going to end the stream in OBS, and I'm going to click the stop streaming button in OBS when I pronounce the word 8. Tomorrow I'll do that different if I remember. And I want you to say in chat, type the number, the last number that you hear in chat, because you got a little time to type in chat. I want you to type the last number that you hear in chat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Whoops. All right. When you click stop streaming in OBS, it comes up with a window. Are you sure you want to stop streaming? So I got to do it again. On 8, I'm going to click the yes button. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,